Hi everybody, this is Kat, and I probably know most of you, and hi. It's unusual for me to be on this side of the camera, and I guess I'm not accustomed to it, so we'll just put that out there. It's been a bit of a week. I know that in speaking with some friends that my feelings are not exclusive to me, that a lot of empaths, healers, and spiritual people who are in tune basically are feeling a lot of things, but the world at large is also in this boat of, it's just literally, that's what it feels like. There's waves of incoming energy and feelings, and that's a bit of, leading into where I want to talk about in general, sadness and grief, and there's a lot to say on that. If I really look back, hindsight is 2020. That's like the famous statement of the year, and it really is right on. But if I truly, honestly look back, and I have many times, but looking back at my life, this particular sadness, this grief, has been present and pops up here and there. Recently, I lost my son, my oldest son, 19 years old, in February. He's with me wherever I go, everywhere, and he makes himself known. And that aside, or that as a lead-in, I guess, that grief is present big time for me and for those around me. And through that as well, there were some experiences that also shine the light on the type of falsity and grief or betrayal that I'm speaking of here. And it goes into every nook and cranny of life for generations of people, ours especially. The indigos, the crystals are kind of taking the reins from the indigos, but the indigos are strong and present in this. And but up from there are parent and grandparent generations as well. This that I'm speaking of is the energy of grief and sadness, carrying into betrayal, abandonment, neglect, disbelief, lack of value and worth. It reaches into every part of our being. And I may be bouncing around a bit, but this feels like the kind of week that I'm having, that I know I'm not the only one out there. So I just felt the need to jump on, and because I've tried to write about this. I have written about this numerous times over many years, and recently it just keeps coming up. It's nagging, and and I wrote something too the other day. It was just really like, put it out there. So I did. It's false agenda will fall. And that energy is everywhere. It's in the people around us, our personal contacts, our business relationships, the people in power, political, medical industry, and basically how we feel, how we have felt for a large majority of our lifetime, which is hand in hand with worth, self-worth, self-value. And I know a lot of us have struggled with that for so long. So my heart goes out to you. I get it. So what we put up with, what the little scraps that we're given, the things things that we allow in our perimeter, in our inner circle even, that we may look back at now as, you know, where was I? How did I allow that to occur? Maybe we saw some beauty in it along the way. Maybe we saw some lessons that were beneficial that we needed to learn. You know, that's all good. But at large, in the world, there's a lot going on, and stuff being revealed that isn't comfortable. It's things having to do with people that we've trusted, people that we put in charge to look after our well-being as, you know, individuals, as, you know, physical bodies with our health, as our collective state with the economy and finances and, you know, all of that. The air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat, you know, you name it. And it's almost, it feels to me like everywhere we look, we don't know what to believe. But I can definitively say, and I know a lot of you are with me, and hats off to you, and thank you for being here and for standing strong in it. But our heart is our barometer, and unfortunately, or fortunately, it took some really deep wounds and betrayals for me to recognize and fully trust. It's not that I didn't recognize it. It's not that it wasn't there before and I paid attention to it and I listened to it. But I mean, definitively, there's no question anymore. There is my truth. There is this barometer that tells me right or wrong, true or false. And falsity is shining, falsity is falling. And I want you to trust that, and I know a lot of you are in the same boat with me, and maybe this all really hits home, and maybe you're just seeing pieces of it. If you're not quite in tune, you're just seeing the world and the agitation and the revelations that are coming forth, and there will be a lot more to be revealed, and it's going to lead to some disbelief and discomfort and fear and anger and a lot of emotions. But at the root of all those things, truly, it's grief, it's sadness. It's, you know, we're grieving our youth, our lifetime, our belief system, our surroundings, the, you know, who belongs, who doesn't, who, you know, a lot of, where do I go from here? What do I go back to work doing because I'm not there anymore? Or where do I live? Or who, you know, who do I trust? I say, start with you, and your heart will tell you. Your heart knows, it always has. It knows what's right, it knows what's not. Even if you can't, like, you know, there's been so many times that somebody's speaking at me, or I'm hearing something and I'm getting agitated, or I'm just not in a believing state of mind, but I just can't put my finger on why, what's the core, what's the reason. And you know, maybe at a later date it reveals itself. Maybe it's like as soon as I drive off in my truck, or, you know, wake up the next morning, or 2 o'clock in the morning, you know, whatever that is. And it's for us to pay attention to ourselves. It's for us to really try to identify. Writing helps a lot. And often lately, and for probably 2 years now, I've found that too many overlapping and interweaving things about the same topic. Like, so sitting down to write for this particular thing, this is why I chose to do a video. Sitting down to write it, And I could go this way for an hour and really get into the detail of that particular direction or focus with that particular emotion or feeling or topic, with specifics of, you know, people and experiences and what I've learned and, you know, all of that. But then I could, but that limits this thing to that one point or focus. So I find difficulty in writing it or even speaking it because the details bring you to a thing. But this is so all encompassing of like life, you know. And that brought me to something else which really doesn't flow in what I was just speaking, but it did bring me to it, so I'm gonna say it because I've learned that as well. So to finish off on, you know, our grief, our sadness, what we may be feeling, seeing, experiencing, you know, I think it's up to us to really, you know, and I've always thought this for many, many years, and I've been doing this work on myself. It's the hardest work you'll ever do, but it's the most beneficial work you will ever do. And it not only benefits us, it benefits everyone around us. It benefits, you know, our partner, our children, our parents, our siblings, our friends, our neighbors, our community, our jobs, our every little thing. It benefits collectively. The energy as well just benefits everything, everywhere. The power of that is beyond anything I can mention. But working on ourselves, learning our tools, and this week, one of those weeks where I've got a toolbox. I've got a lot of tools at my disposal between writing, drawing and art and crystals and getting outside with nature, walking, digging literally hands in the dirt, standing with my feet in the grass, looking up at the sky, standing by a tree, hugging it, color therapy, vibrations, meditations, and focused and unfocused, silent, quiet, creative aspects of things I'm building and making, and my crystals, which I've got always handy, and cleansing techniques, cutting of cords, adding of light. I mean, there's so much stuff that does work. It works for me. And, you know, this whole box of tools, I'm sure there's, you know, 100 more of this box of tools. Sometimes a thing works, and sometimes maybe it didn't do the thing right now, and I'll try something else, and maybe that will work, and maybe I have to try 5 things, who knows. This week, everything has been all my successes in breaking out the tools and really setting about the task for hours at length, like literally. Yesterday I spent the entire day just hitting the reset button over and over and over. It was like, you know, vibrations, let's go outside, let's do this, that, the other thing, and okay, and then I put myself in a trance, all of these things, and it was short-lived. Every bit of it felt good and was able to hit the reset button, but you know, something else, another wave came in, and need to do it again. And I did over and over all day long. I mean, that's the kind of week it's been. But yesterday was tough. So with all of that, I think that I'm going to end on this note. It's up to us to do that. It's up to us to know what works for us and to have numerous things at our disposal and do them when needed. I mean, the last thing we might want to do is crawl up out of bed or off the couch and go outside into the wind and the weather. But do it anyway. You will feel the difference. It's worth the effort. And even if it only, brings relief for a couple of minutes, it's worth it. Energetically, it's worth it, emotionally. So back to that thing. This is something that I've known all my life. I've known a few things all my life, and I've known a few things for only a few decades, but I've thought about putting them out there also. And I guess, like I said, if I sit and think and get into the energy of something, it's like lately, all these things are piled on top, and it's not such a simple statement. It's involved. I would say the same about this, because what this energy, this time in this world, this, the loss of my son, a lot of things, like I've known that I would lose my son before I had him. He was 19 years old. I've known I would lose him for 20. And I remember writing his name in a book, a journal of mine, at 13, and not remembering that until after I had him and named him. And I almost did lose him at the age of 9. And I did lose him at 19, just 2 months ago. And straight into this pandemic that we got locked in. And I have a younger son. So my fear of losing, or him being exposed in some way, or whatever, for my younger son, my fear was just immense. And on top of grief. But even after losing my son and knowing, he knew what was coming. I'm telling you, he was a master 22, very gifted. And I'll leave it at that for now. But even after losing him, I remember saying, I've also known another thing all of my life. I have spoken to so many, teachers and peers and colleagues and friends. What I've known all my life is that I would be a survivor, but I would not want to be. And after losing my son, I thought, maybe this is it. But then I thought, this isn't that. It's the knowing that I would lose him, but it's not the survivor bit. And then a couple of days later, man, did that hit home. And all of it, not just him, but the world, the state of the world. And I guess I haven't put it out into, the public, because I didn't want to just blurt it out there and create fear or panic or anything like that. Or I guess I didn't know what the benefit, if there was a point to even putting it out to the public. But that limited thinking expanded slightly for me. The knowing of it. I'm not the only one. Like I mentioned earlier, the indigos, I think a lot of us knew. My son, not an indigo, a crystal, but he knew. I think a lot of us have had this lifelong knowing of our purpose, but we've been working toward it and working on ourselves and trying to figure it out as we go. I mean, frustration's been big over many, many, many years, but I guess, for me to, if it brings you any comfort in knowing you're not alone, if you're feeling that as well, that there's purpose in us being here right now. This is what we signed on for. And there are things that we must do, like hold our energy and hit the reset button when needed, and really try to focus on not so much the negative of all that's collapsing, because things will be and are already collapsing. Falsity is, people's true colors will shine of all status, regardless. But the energy that we put into the creation of that which we want to see is, you know, we're shaking stuff up. We are awakening others, absolutely. But we also must maintain positive energy, have compassion for ourselves as well when we, you know, do have those moments and days, because we're not only filtering our own. This is another, you know, conversation I've had over decades with people of, you know, my feeling that I was not simply detoxing and clearing imprints from my own physical self, but that I was assisting the world. That's what it felt like. And I knew it. And, you know, other people voiced their opinion that that wasn't the case and I need to only deal with me. And I never felt that was correct either. So I knew there as well what my role was. And I've done it all along. You know, I've always put others first or included them in my own clearings and healings, things like that. It's always been a deep part of me that I don't think I could have separated if I tried. But so back to, you know, we need to take care of ourselves, we need to clear ourselves. In doing so, we're helping everything, everyone, and also compassion for the self. There is a lot of grief. We're getting bombarded, people like me and you, getting bombarded with, most especially, you know, in assisting those that aren't even awakened yet, that just don't really understand what they're feeling and the shifting of it. I mean, it's like minute to minute, up, down, sideways. And so let's break out our tools, take those baths, get outside, use the oils, sit quietly and really grounding and helping all of this stuff really find an exit point. You know, let it flow through you to be transmuted and healed, to be united with the earth, dispersed, you know, created into, like, transformed into something beautiful and life affirming, life sustaining, you know, and this includes our Mother Earth. There's so many things to say on that. So I guess that's why I felt I should bring it up. You know, this knowing of mine, this lifelong thing, to send love to all of you out there who also have had a lifetime of, I don't know what the word is. It's been a life. It's been a wonderful and tumultuous and very emotional ride. And I'm happy to be here. So I'm happy you're here. I am gonna stop talking now. I love you all, and I am always in the background sending love and support, and here if anybody has any questions or in need of healing yourself. You know, we also need to take care of each other. So take care of yourself first, and here if you need me, okay?